Brackenhide Hollow makes its Mythic Plus debut in Dragonflight Season 2. I'm Dratnos, and in this video, I'll walk you through the dungeon to help prepare you to take on the gnolls and stave off the decay. You'll start by freeing captive Tuskar. You'll need to release 5 from their cages before you can progress the dungeon, but there are more than 5, so you can pick and choose how you want to path through the start of the dungeon. Watch out for Bracken War Scourges. These have an AoE fear that needs to be kicked, and they passively increase the damage and reduce the cooldowns of other nearby gnolls. This dungeon is full of nasty diseases, such as the Witherbolt cast by Trickclaw Mystics. Luckily, they only cast this ability if there is a rot-chanting totem nearby, and the bolt can be kicked. If all else fails, you can dispel the disease, and if you have an alchemist in your group, they can add an extra safety net by purifying any of the decaying cauldrons found around the dungeon. After the cauldron is purified, everyone can click on it to get a 5-minute extra action button that can be used to cleanse themselves once. After you've freed 5 Tuskar, you'll get to fight the first boss, during which everyone should try and stay as high health as possible since the bosses gain haste based on the group's missing health. Gash Frenzy is also removed by being healed above 90% health, so you'll want to do this anyway. The nasty combo on this fight is when your tank gets hit by a disorient at the same time your healer gets CC'd by Hextrick Totem. Break this totem quickly so that your tank can then get dispelled, since they need to step in front of Rira Hackclaw before Savage Charge goes off and kills somebody else in your group. The other bosses all have other abilities you'll need to look out for, but most are pretty straightforward. Kick the Greater Healing Rapids to avoid the boss's healing, for instance. After the boss goes down, you'll get to head left or right. The left path is a little less kick-intensive, and it's my recommendation for most groups, though it does feature a lot of group damage from Bone Bolts from the Rotbow Stalkers, which have a couple of other nasty abilities, such as that same buff aura that the War Scourges have at the start of the dungeon. They'll also throw meat at players in your group, which causes nearby animals to fixate on them. Gutshot is the next boss you'll fight. She's basically a beast mastery hunter, and frequently summons hyenas and throws traps. The hyenas should be picked up by your tank, but they will also fixate at the players that Gutshot throws meat at. You can kite these hyenas over the traps to root them. You'll also want to kick Master's Call to stop the boss from freeing her pets. After Gutshot goes down, head back across the bridge. Watch out for Stink Breath, which will disorient and damage whoever gets hit. This is a pretty quick cast and will track whoever it's targeting, so if you can react fast enough, you can make sure it only hits one person. Treemouth is up next, and this boss's bark is definitely just as nasty as its bite. The big mechanic to understand on this encounter is the Grasping Vines phase, which works a little differently than it does on normal and heroic. The boss will cast Grasping Vines and pull all players towards it. When the cast finishes, all players within 10 yards get consumed, which deals some nature damage and locks you inside the boss. If nobody is within 10 yards, the boss instead gets a massive enrage, so make sure that somebody stays in. Any players who get eaten get the partially digested debuff for the next minute, which makes the consume much more lethal if it happens to them again, so you'll want to alternate who gets consumed each time. A final gauntlet of trash stands between you and the Decatriarch after Treemouth falls. Waves of small adds will spawn routinely until you get up to the top, but take your time and make sure to kick the Filth Callers to bring them into the fray. During the gauntlet, you need to make sure to swap to the summoned totems as they empower the fetid Rot Singers to cast Burst of Decay and put a disease on your whole group. There are some of the alchemy cauldrons in this gauntlet too, so make sure to use these if you can, especially if you don't have a disease dispeller in your group, like a paladin, monk, or priest. The Vile Rot Hexer is another important mob towards the end of this gauntlet. Stay spread because Withering Contagion will spread if you're too close to one another, and use your cauldron or other disease dispels on this if you can. Decatriarch Wratheye is the last boss, and you'll need to make sure that you avoid the choking rot cloud, or else you'll get a nasty dot. If that's not enough to convince some of you DPS players to dodge it, it also silences you while you're inside, and reduces your damage dealt afterwards. Make sure to quickly swap to the Rot Burst Totem, especially if it shows up in the middle of a rot cloud, because if it finishes its cast, you'll take a bunch of damage and also get a stack of that nasty dot/damage reduction effect. Brackenhide Hollow is a fearsome dungeon, but I hope this video will help you tackle its challenges. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and check out our other Season 2 dungeon guides. Thanks for watching, and good luck in your keys.